Hello again, honky tonks. Before I speak about Dan Wootton, a quick word on Charlotte Mosque. Now, she's just come out with a statement saying that she believes we haven't been told the truth about what happened on October the 7th. We know what happened. Hamas terrorists flew into Israel, crossed the border, and kidnapped and murdered a load of innocent Israeli men, women, and children. That's a fact. The footage is out there. The footage is harrowing, to say the least, and the fact that people like Charlotte Church and Owen Jones are in denial over this says everything you need to know about them. Now, this statement from her comes after she issued another statement kind of apologising. It was apologising, but she wasn't, about the singing from the river to the sea during one of her, she attended a few of these pro-Hamas terrorist free plasticine marches, didn't she? So she sang that, and it's a genocidal song. It means the eradication of the Israeli people from a river to the sea. So that's that. She had a lot of backlash because of it, and rightly so. You know, the woman is thick as mince. She hasn't looked into this whole thing, and it's like she's picked a side because it's trendy, it's the current thing, isn't it, for celebrities and all that to support the free plasticine pro-Hamas terror marches because. And so her career has been dead in the water now for quite a long time. She's trying to regain some of that former celebrity magic by picking this side, and it hasn't worked. So she sang that song, she issued the apology condemning the Hamas attacks, and then she comes out with this in the same vein as saying that she's not anti-Semitic. I mean, good grief. So basically, people from the free plasticine marches have told her, how dare you condemn Hamas? Now, you best right this wrong, or you can't be part of our gang anymore. So that's why she's done that. She wants to be part of the gang. She wants to be part of that woke current thing cause, and she wants to be famous again. I reckon Charlotte Mosque should just sit at home in South Wales and watch TV for the rest of her life, because she is basically thick. Anyway, Dan Wootton. Now, Dan Wootton is making a comeback. Now, he used to have a show on GB News. That show was cancelled immediately after a big nothing burger said by Lawrence Fox. 3 of them were sacked because of it. Well, whether Dan Wootton was sacked or he left, nobody's quite sure, are they? Nobody knows. There are insiders in GB News saying he was sacked. He's saying he left. I'm not sure who to believe. Anyway, so GB News hung the 3 of them out to dry, as they did with Mark Stein. Now, these were all red flags and alarm bells for me, and I've told you why, which indicate that GB News is very much establishment. It's an establishment channel, and it started off being alternative, though always establishment, and it used us on the right, the real conservatives, people who are likely to vote for Reform, UKIP, etc., as a way to gain momentum and following, and then slowly over time the cracks started to appear, and they have been exposed as establishment, in my view. Now, considering GB News let go of these people thanks to the ruling of the off-communists, they've treated people rather differently for exactly the same thing. For example, Lawrence Fox said he wouldn't shag a woke journalist, and this woke journalist and Carol Voldemort were both on Have I Got News For You, and said they wouldn't shag him. But Ofcom didn't investigate Have I Got News For You. Strange that, isn't it? Now, Dan Wootton has started again online with his own show. It's in the same vein as Piers Morgan and Censored. It's a similar sort of title, can't remember what it was, but Piers Morgan, as soon as he found out that the ratings of talk radio were dwindling, then he jumped ship. He's now on YouTube, and he is a classic bought and paid for mainstream media hack. Piers Morgan is like a kite in the wind. Whichever way the wind blows, he follows it. So he's decided to go onto YouTube, and now he's more woke than ever. But I don't think Dan Wootton is going to be the same. I think Dan Wootton is going to stay true to himself, as his previous programme was, and you'll get more of the same. But I think it'll be more exposure of GB News. I don't think he can say much at the moment, but when that show is up and running, he'll reveal a lot more, but it'll be far less than what we really know about GB News. Remember, these people weren't liked at GB News. According to Calvin Robinson, GB News is invested with left-wing bigotry, and they wanted these people out anyway, and they tried every which way but loose to sabotage their programme. So what Dan Wootton, Calvin Robinson, Lawrence Fox and Mark Stein know about GB News, there's far worse skeletons in the closet, I believe. And this is where Neil Oliver comes in. Now, I think Neil Oliver should follow Dan Wootton and just do his own thing. He has his own YouTube channel anyway. That channel would grow rapidly if he just left GB News, because I believe he's being censored. He really is. As I revealed to you all a few days ago on another video on this matter, GB News are shoving Neil Oliver behind a paywall and streaming because he's too firebrand. Neil Oliver doesn't represent what GB News wants to go. Where it wants to go. GB News wants to be proper mainstream, like Sky News, Channel 4 News, BBC, etc. It wants to be part of the gang, but it can't be part of the gang if it hangs around with the wrong people. So they're going to hide Neil Oliver behind a paywall, behind streaming, so they can control him. And for Neil Oliver to allow this to happen, it's a bit surprising, because Neil Oliver, remember, he's the guy who's always calling for a revolution, sticking it to the man, free speech, etc. He's a libertarian, isn't he? He's all about the freedoms and liberties of man. But for him to stay there and accept this, I find quite odd. But Neil Oliver's got to do his thing, isn't he? He needs a living, I guess, but still. While he will be streaming and behind a paywall, GB News will be presenting an edited version of his show for their main channel. So they have control, really. I mean, it's edited now, it's got to be. I love Neil Oliver's monologues. The guy says what I think, but he's always been edited. He has to, I reckon, present this monologue in written form to the editors, and they must cross out what he can't say, mustn't they? I mean, he can't just sit there and just spiel. He's got to write this down. It's got to be in a teleprompter. That teleprompter is written by people who've read what he's presented, so ultimately he is censored. So Neil Oliver ought to do the same thing, have his own platform, because ultimately he'll get kicked off YouTube as well, because this platform is restrictive as hell. YouTube is very censorious. It really is. Is censorious a word? You know what I'm talking about. But all our favourites should just come off these talk shows. Neil Oliver, Nigel Farage, Dan Wootton's done it. But I think the only way to do that is to get them red pilled. They're going to have to be kicked out, or these talk shows turn against them, I reckon. But it'll be great. I'll go and watch Neil Oliver anyway. The guy says what I think. He really does. And that's dangerous. To have a guy on GB News to say what people like me, right-wing conservatives, proper conservatives, patriots, people like you say, it's dangerous. And they couldn't sack him, because that would end them. I reckon most people watch GB News for people like Neil Oliver, and if they sacked him, of all people, probably the most popular guy on there, because he says what we think, then it'll end them. It would finish them off. Because the woke people don't watch him, the establishment don't watch him. The only people who watches him are us on the right. So it'll just sink them. It'll really sink them. They haven't got enough wokey-cokies to watch him yet to continue to be successful as mainstream media, I reckon. So there we go. That's what I think. That's my opinion on the matter. And if you agree, then please consider subscribing to my channel, sharing my stuff everywhere, liking it, etc. Because ultimately, by sharing me, you're sharing yourselves. Because it's your guys in the comment section that help make this channel. It's never about me, it's about you. It's your subs and the viewers. They have the key to your YouTube success. And I owe it all to you. So there we go. I'm Paz49. Thanks for watching and listening. And until the next time, Roger Trout.